Welcome to the Season 3 Power Rankings, preseason rankings for the Rillaboom division. I'm Bo, I'm here with Hasugal and Oxawave. So
Hello.
feel free to introduce yourself, guys.
Hello, I'm Oxawave. I currently don't have a camera, so you'll have to do it with my Discord picture. And I'll be here to comment on your drafts today.
Yeah. So we're basically here.
Hello, I'm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm Hasugal. I'm your Rillaboom mod and your Season 2 champion. Here to commentate today.
Cool. And I'm here to just judge your teams because I don't have to play in this league, and I'm just gonna trash. I'm here to trash all your teams and tell you how bad it is, and I hope you guys prove me wrong. All right, let's jump right into it. We're gonna start with the London Vespiquens, and this is an interesting set of picks. With Lunala really being the main legendary lead on this team. So, Hasugal, Oxawave, what do you guys think about this team?
Well, it's the second take we're doing it after the first one was like messed up.
They didn't have to know that.
I'll say like some of our conclusion from last time. Like two most important things to note is one, Zen plus Lunala don't match together.
Mm-hmm.
You'll break your shadow shield a lot, which is really important for Lunala to keep it up so it can leave hit. And secondly, except from Lunala, this entire team is physical, so you can invest a lot in physical defense instead of Spadef.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm not also seeing a way to either like proc a weakness policy on Lunala, or I'm not sure how Lunala is going to be used on this team. And that might be a good thing, considering having different having a non-obvious method to use a Pokemon can be hard to prepare for the opposite team. And I think something we talked about in the first time we went through this, right, was that it looks like from start to finish, 1 through 11, every Pokemon seems to be kind of a usable Pokemon, and it can be brought out almost any week.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the best part of this draft, that it really keeps the opponent guessing what's going to come this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One more thing we discussed is the Indeedeed plus Arena, which both do the same thing more or less. And like maybe Sarina was not the best use of your points, which like getting the lower tier grass types, which are a lot of them, for like something better than Sandslash or Stoutland, or even get like get Thunderous instead of Zapdos, something like that to like up your team a bit is like really important. I think should be great for this team.
Yeah.
And this team has some quite exploitable weaknesses with the double 4x weakness on Lunala. And there's a lot of ice weakness and fairy weakness here, so that's really something I'll have to play around.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like Gigalith wants to be in Trick Room, and maybe Gastron could do well in Trick Room too. But like Indeedee Male is kind of your only Trick Room stopper on the team, right? With Imprison. So I don't know if that is kind of the plan here, is just to kind of go with speed mode and use Fletchinder to kind of get speed control with Tailwind. I'm not sure if Fletchinder is going to be a great speed control Pokemon, but it works, I'm sure, in certain situations.
One thing we didn't note like last time we did it, that Stoutland gets after you. So you can use that to make Gigalith fast and attack first, even outside of Trick Room. In Sandrush, Stoutland, which is a really nice stack. I used it a lot in Season 1 when I had Stoutland and Titor. Useful in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So that could help Gigalith work in this non-Trick Room team.
Yeah, that actually could be a really cheeky way to do this. I kind of like that. that makes Gigalith look really scary with, like, you can do a Stoutland after you and then Gigalith Rock Slide or something, right, to just get those quick flinches on your opponent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It looks like Oxowave PC crashed, so he's out for a quick second. But I think, that's kind of all we had with this team. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about, Hasugol?
No, I think we covered everything. Like, super high physical attackers. That synergy with Lunala and Sam.
All right. Yeah, so I'm interested.
There's some really strong attackers and scary team.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this team plays out. We'll see as the season goes on. I think for now, as kind of a starter, I think we put this team into the C tier for now, right?
Yeah, I think it was like high C tier.
High C tier. Yeah, and to be fair, all these teams are really close together, so it's
sure.
it's not a knock on anybody if you're A tier, B tier, C tier. And obviously last season we ranked a couple teams in C tier, and I think they finished top in the league. So
Second, I think.
Take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. All right. Moving on. We're gonna go to the London Silvallys, which is Jamesy's team. Our leader, starter, big boss, owner of this Discord draft league, the guy who runs everything. All right, and he has Tornogre, which is an absolutely scary lead. That is just immediate water spout threats all around. And so I want to go to you guys, Oxowave and Housegull. What do you guys think about this team he's kind of put together around Tornogre?
I think there are like two main checks each team needs to have to be good. One is a Torn Ogre check, the other is the Kyogre Shadow check. And this team, with any team without a Kyogre check, will just get demolished. Like, Kyogre plus Tornadoes is a strong meta pick for a reason. Consistent, it's solid, and it can do a lot of damage. But like the rest of the team, I have some problems with. As you can see, like a lot of your points go for a Trick Room mode with Snorlax, Mimikyu, and Dracoji. And Torn Ogre, on the other hand, hate Trick Room. Like, in Trick Room, they are pretty bad because they can't hit first, and without Water Spout, Kyogre is not that strong. Couple of things to note is no Grass type to tank those Grass type moves. So like, unless you want to bring Torracat every week, which gets O-coded in rain by everything basically, you don't have a strong Grass type switch in, which is like kind of a problem.
Yeah, I think like the best grass type switch in on this team would probably be Togedemaru, and Togedemaru is good, but its defensive stats are lacking, right? It's not super strong on that side.
Dragozolts does pretty well as well. But.
Like you don't want to waste your Gaji for the defensive switching. I think like with this team you want it more offensive. But like support with like slowest flip turn could work in some cases, I think, to get a free switching into Kyogre after you, like, if there is a grass type in front of you, you can just bait switch out, then flip turn on it to get Kyogre freely in.
Yeah, that could be an interesting way to do it. I could see that being a great way to kind of get this team going. And we talked a little bit about kind of like Snorlax being a good Pokemon. It's got a few different modes, so it's kind of nice, right? You can run AV, Zigfat, you can run Belly Drum, Gluttony. There's no kind of follow me for this team, but you can get it set up with a fake out from Togedemaru or something.
Or Ally Switch, but like not that consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
I think
no.
the biggest problem with this draft is just that it has some setup months, like Sonic, maybe Q and Belgium.
Mhm.
You just really have support to get those set up consistently.
Yeah, yeah, the strong Pokemon on this team kind of require a bit more support than maybe you'd like and maybe you'd want to have in a draft league. Now, the other part about this team is, I like Silvally, right? It can be multiple types. It could be literally anything from battle to battle. I think the only fear with Silvally is it going to be strong enough, right? Does it have enough stats to really stick around? And kind of last season, I felt like watching it just kind of got hit hard and then couldn't really do anything, or it was kind of in a bad position to make strong moves.
Yeah, I had it last season, and I had multiple times I would rather want to set it up with sword dance before really dealing damage, and it just never really gets a chance to do that. So its damage output is usually pretty average with a 95 base attack.
Mm-hmm.
I think for sure in restricted meta, I think you need to use it a lot more defensively, with like potting shots and other defensive moves instead of like more offensive one.
Yeah, yeah. So
Could be your both grass type switching.
Yeah, it could be that Pokemon for this team, and I do like the pick of Togedemaru for the Lightning Rod to help protect Kyogre and Golduck as well. Golduck taking advantage of the Swift Swim and even having Cloud9 to use against opposing teams to prevent them from setting up or having weather effects, right?
Yeah. I think like especially against sand teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like because the sand setters are slower than Kyogre, you can use Golduck to Cloud9, then Dynamax Kyogre gets Drizzle up and switch Golduck out.
Yeah.
Like Golduck is a tiny bit slower than Kyogre, so you can make Golduck faster. No, you can make Golduck slower actually. Then get the Max Geyser and switch it out to get the Rain Boost for the next turn.
Yeah. I think that could be one of the great ways to use Golduck on this team. So I'm interested to see. I think like the first team, like the Vespiquens, this team kind of goes 1 through 11 again, and you can really see any one of them each week, which can make it really hard to prepare for. And that's kind of one of the benefits of the way James Z draft this team. The only other thing I saw was that it didn't feel like there was a good hard defensive switch in. Like a lot of these Pokemon on the team have really good special defense, but then if I look at the defense column, I don't know if there's if a team comes in with like just pure defense, Claydol is maybe your strongest defensive Pokemon, and it still has a stronger special defense. So I'm not sure if teams can try to prep against this team by just going with hard attacks. And outside of Torracat, there's not really another stat dropping Pokemon that's consistent.
Like you have Willow with Mimikyu, but it's still hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah. But overall, I think we all agree that
solid
this
team.
Still a solid team, really good. And I think we've agreed that this is B tier, middle B tier.
Yeah, it was like middle high B tier, something like that.
Yeah.
On the left side.
Yeah, I think solid B tier. You can't really go against Tornogre. Tornogre alone is just a huge threat. So I'm curious to see how people really prep for this team. All right, moving on to the bulky Ferrothorns. So Hasegal, this is your team, and I think this is a pretty
this is my team.
Interesting team. Before we get your thoughts and opinions on it, I want to get Oxawave's opinion on this team and how he feels about it.
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about this team. I think it looks very good on paper. I just think it's really hard to pull off in practice. Like, we know the thought behind this is bulk it up with Lapras Aurora Veil.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Xerneas can definitely pull off something on its own, even without Geomancy, because the team lacks kind of the redirection support to set up a Geomancy, like, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I also think this team kind of lacks like some big physical offensive pressure, like you have the right barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And Corviknight kind of wants to set up as well with like bulk up. So I think it's really kind of a bulky team.
Yeah, it's a I kind of say the same thing. It's a really bulky team. It requires setup, but I think it has kind of the support Pokemon that allow the team to get set up right. Um, you have Gothitelle, you have Mienshao, you have Liepard. Those three are really great support Pokemon in Draft League, um, and in general, really. And then, I think Xerneas was a great pick, and then Hasselgal did a really great job building around that with Lapras Gmax to get the screens. Rotom Heat can be a switch in for any steel moves, and Corviknight can be a switch in for any poison moves. So it's kind of like this nice balance up at the top here, and then some really good support, down to, I would say, down to Liepard, and then I really like Linloon, Galar Linloon, because you can add an Eviolite to it. It's, not the fastest thing, but at 100 base speed or something like that. It's got, um, it's got the ability to be annoying. It's got Icy Wind. It's got Snarl. I don't know if it gets Parting Shot, but it looks annoying. It does, yeah. So it's absolutely just an annoying little creature. Um, and so yeah, so I think pretty highly of this team. But I'm interested to see if with this team, if you can't get some boosts or things like that, is that going to be an issue? Or can it bulk it out, right? So Hasselgal, tell us about why you drafted your team and what was your reasoning behind all this?
So I wanted to build around Journey. Yes, it's kind of underrated, underused at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Then I looked at the support. The first thing I was going for was Sentient, but that was taken way too early for me. I thought like it fit really well with Dracozolt and Tailwind, like going Xerneas, Dracozolt, Gigalith, Tailwind user. But that didn't work. So I was thinking like how I can get in a position to safely set up Xerneas. Now, most people will probably lead Taunt or their Steel type, which because Xerneas deserves a lot of respect, because if it sets up, it can really just run through the game easily. So I was thinking like how I can always get the Steel type out of the way. And Gothitelle trapping is like a really good idea for doing it. So I had Gothitelle and Xerneas, which Gothitelle also provides fake out support, so I can fake out then Geomancy at the same turn. So I had that. Then I was thinking like Gothitelle. Lapras is good for it. It makes it bulkier, has Perish Trap options.
Yeah.
So I had these three. Then I wanted Steel type switches. So Rotom Hit was like an easy choice for me because it 4 times resists Steel. So I can either use it defensively or offensively, which is I think like really great for this team. Then I went like, okay, I want some because I'm really bulky, I want some speed control, so Tailwind. Then I wasn't sure what Tailwind user I wanted. I had Crobat and switched away. I think Corviknight is better because I have Lapras for both, which makes like the slow Tailwind, actually pretty consistent. So I had that. I wanted White Guard, so like I took me and Chow, White Guard, Fake Out, U-Turn, all like momentum based things. So my team relies on momentum a lot. To get Gothitelle and Xerneas in a position where Xerneas can just set up and win. I think that's the plan most of the time.
Okay.
I took Lipod, well, for a couple of reasons. I was pretty weak to weather teams. So I wanted Prankster Weather to stop it. Things like fake tier support for Xerneas makes it so I don't have to set up, get Thunder Wave for speed control, Charm, a lot of like easy support options, which my team really values.
Yeah,
Lipod is amazing.
That was like my main core, my main Xerneas option. Then like I had my last one that I want was Shedinja, but that was sniped and I didn't have enough points for it. Because Shedinja plus Gothitelle, if I can trap my opponent in a position they can't hit Shedinja, which is an option, I can set up to pass 6 easily and get rolling with the game.
So you're just shooting for more and more boosts.
Yeah. Shedinja and Xerneas, like, they work together. Perisong and Shedinja work together. If I protect, it's always like it's guaranteed to win. Perisong, but I didn't get it, so that was a shame. Then I realized, like that than Xerneas, I don't really have offense at all. So like I took Rhyperior because I needed ground type and he was strong and in Trick Room, which I had got it though, and can hit like a truck. Flapple is there also as offense. I think like last time when I said that I'm not going to use Flapple that much, but I think it has potential in the right matchup to just actually sweep. This is the hustle user with the highest best base attack. So this thing hits so hard. And like Dragon and Grass types I didn't have, so I thought it was nice to get. Then I had Grookey. And Grookey is my secret weapon.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Grookey outside of setting up Grassy Surge for your team. But yeah, you can tell me because I think unlike the other two teams, your team is really, I think your team is, 1 through 10. And that's still okay. I mean, 10 is still a lot of Pokemon that you can bring each week. If I don't see Grookey come out at all this season, I'll be very disappointed in your team.
I was looking at the matchups, and I think I see a Grookey game.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Like, Grookey has some value because his grass moves actually hit pretty strong. I mean, I calculated a bit for me in the Oxos match, and that Life Orb Grookey with Dynamax Wood Hammer can OHKO's Dynamax Max HP Primarina.
If you Dynamax Grookey,
I can OHKO Dynamax Primarina.
Yeah, I'll be very impressed if you decide that Dynamax Grookey is the right choice in a match.
Now I got to put a Rainbow Berry on my Primarina.
Yeah.
That would be so embarrassing.
Yes.
But like, probably not bringing Grookey this match. Not sure about it yet. I'll have to see.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I really think like it gets Endeavor and Knockoff. Growl, which is useful. Fake Out, U-turn. So like it has some use. I don't know. I think like for 1 point that I had left, Grookey is a valid choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. For 1 point.
For 1 point, it's for the value, I think it's good.
I think like a bad matchup I'll have is against Psychic Terrain. Because I don't have a lot of terrain control other than Dynamax. And I rely on Fake Out quite heavily with 3 Fake Out ones, I think. 4, including Grookey.
4.
Yeah.
So like taking this away will be a problem for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've spoken a lot about this team, and I'm curious to see how this plays out. I think we did this, and I'm pretty sure that this is. I'm gonna go with A tier for this. Um,
Yeah, personally, I added in B tier because I think it really takes a lot of
Setup.
like right execution to get right. But I can agree with A tier for sure because it's just so scary.
Okay. If you want to go B tier, I'm okay with that. Let's. Hasegal, we're not gonna give
No, I
you
think
the.
I think A is fine.
Okay. Well, we're gonna put you in A tier, but that means we're gonna put everybody after you. So you're welcome.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with Oxford that it takes a lot of good execution. If I mess up like one turn, then I'll probably lose the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know you're a good player, so I think you can pull it off.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Have to see it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
hope so.
Moving on to the Phoenix Rising Voltage, which is Bardo's team, and I think this is his third season now. So I think he's played. This will be his third season because I think he played first season as well. So, and he has an interesting team with Zekrom, Indeedees Hat, a little bit of a rain setup going with Riolu, Ludicolo. Urshifu kind of takes advantage of that as well, and then it looks like quite a few Trick Room Mons kind of in the back here. And so I think this is kind of an interesting team. It's built seemingly mostly for Trick Room side. It doesn't seem to have a lot of speed, in my opinion. And there's not really a Tailwind setter, but that could be okay because Indeedees Hatterene is almost a guaranteed Trick Room every time, almost. But I want to capture your guys' thoughts here. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, so I said this last time as well, and I kind of know Bardo's drafts are like really good overall, and this one just left me a little bit confused as to what like the main direction is. As you said, like it seems to be centered around the Trick Room mode, and then you have Zekrom, which kind of doesn't fit that. So I really want to see it in practice. I think it can work. It's just a little bit off, I think. I feel like you want Zekrom maybe speed up with dual wing beat max ice stream, maybe next to Urshifu. Then you have like Ludicolo maybe with, I don't know, like the Rain Dance from Riolu. There's some options here. I kind of like the draft. I just don't know how it's gonna work in practice.
Kind of feel the same way. I think what's nice is Kriolu can help set the sun or the rain. So if there's any issues with running up against, a bad weather team, you can always prep for that. I just think it's hard because now the only way you can gain speed control right is setting up, rain for Ludicolo first turn, and that's probably your fastest Pokemon on this team. And maybe you can do Tailwind with Unpheasant, but I think we talked about this last time. What are you going to do? Maybe you do want to do Scarf Unpheasant to set up Tailwind before your opponent, and that maybe could work and catch them off guard. So maybe that's something there that they can do.
I talked with about the base when he drafted this team. The first thing he took was Indeedees female and hat, which like this team revolves around Indeedees and hat, and then there's Zekrom, which doesn't really fit the team. You don't have a good ground resist / immunity. So like, and not enough of speed control for Zekrom to hit as hard as he wants. So like, that's kind of a problem. The Trick Room team is actually pretty scary. Like Escavalier plus Hat plus Turt are actually like big threats. And Glaceon, I even think Glaceon has like potential because this one has the second highest base special attack of all ice types. So like, if your team is if your opponent's team is really fast, and you have Glaceon in Trick Room, you can just consistently take KOs with this. Like 130 is no joke. Kind of anti-synergy, not enough support for Zekrom to actually thrive. I feel like Intimidate can go off Like there is nothing to stop it. Not enough speed control. Yeah, I think that's the main problems with this team. They don't utilize their restricted as much.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like Zekrom when it maxes, right? He's going to want to change the terrain to to electric terrain, which could be maybe good or bad. It just seems like it's going to take away from the Indeedee hat, but maybe that's okay. But what I do like is, if you end up getting Urshifu in rain, that thing is just going to knock everything out. And I think your point about Glaceon is really good too. Glaceon has good defenses to really back up that 130 special attack, so we could take a couple hits probably before it's out of there, unless it's like a really hard, super effective attack. And the Scavalier and Turtonator are great Trick Room Mons. So I'm interested in seeing what this team can do. But do you guys have anything else you want to talk about with this team?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay.
I think like this team relies a lot on Indeedees.
Mm-hmm.
And if he dies, then you just have to take KOs every turn, or you lose your mons.
Yeah.
Because it's lacking bulk. I think. Mm-hmm. I feel like.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to have that and like the speed that maybe you'd want. Early on, because if you're always having to set up Trick Room with Indeedee Hatterene in the beginning, and then you lose those two Pokemon in your first two turns, you're always playing from behind the rest of the way, right?
One thing you can do with this team is like copycat Trick Room with Max Guard.
Yeah.
But like Real doesn't really help hats unless you want to run like something like weakness policy with Bullet Punch to activate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, really doesn't help a lot hats. So like Indeedee is probably your better bet most times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're Indeedee is probably the more main consistent setup, and you also have to waste a max turn to set it up. So it could work. It just right situation.
Yeah,
I think
really works best with Zekrom here with coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Escavalier.
Escavalier as well.
Yeah. So there's some boosting that can happen with this team, and yeah, I think this is an interesting team.
One last thing, I think this team is really fairy weak.
Yeah.
Like fairy types, they have one resist, which is
Escavalier,
but a lot of weaknesses. Yeah, a lot of weaknesses. Right.
Yeah. So people might be able to play around and just really kind of spam those attacks. Okay, I think we're ready to rank this team, and I think we agree on it last time. Was it B tier, or what are you guys thinking?
It was B tier, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had B.
Like, it has potential, and Border is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think he can pull it off, but it's not the best draft.
Yeah, and it's not obvious how he's going to use the team, but again, that might be a good thing. But I'm just not seeing it. I said that last time about I forgot who I ranked number 1, and that did not work out at all. So we shall see. All right, moving on to RA Alexa's team, the St. Michael's Alchemy, and she, last season I had her placed in C tier, and she moved up A tier and was, I think, number 1 for most, if not all, of the season up until basically the end. And her team was literally, you knew what was coming, and she was basically going to tell you what she was going to do, and nobody could stop her. I mean, she just went out and attacked, and just killed a lot of teams out there really quickly. And I think Calyrex Shadow really just fits kind of her style of play. So I'm interested to see what you guys think about kind of who she picked up here and how she built her team.
Yeah, I think she has 2 great offensive modes, right? With Tailwind or Sand Core.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really nice. And Dracovich ties it together as well. Like Dracovich could be either Sandwich or just Strong Jaw and Tailwind.
Mm-hmm.
There's some great options here. Salamences is good. either as Intimidate support or as Moxie.
Mm-hmm.
And Calyrex Shadow is just an absolute unit, so it's hyper offensive for sure and like pretty top heavy. But I think there's really a lot of offensive options here that can just take a game away if you're not prepared well enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like there are two Sand teams which both have a Goat Psychic restricted type.
Mm-hmm.
So like Titar and Excadrill were not her first picks, and same with Talonflame, but she was snapped a lot in this draft, like Whimsicott, Dracozolts, Wigglytuffs.
Mm-hmm.
All I think are better here. But this team is still super scary, super offensive, can get knockouts every turn until the end of the game if you can stop them.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of anti-synergy with Sand and Talonflame, which wants the Gale Wing up. But like the rest is just hit hard or lose, which is what she did last season. And I think this is what she'll do now.
Yeah. And I like the addition of Tangrowth and Alcremie in the back. Tangrowth, and obviously Rage Powder is not as good as Follow Me because of safety goggles and grass Pokemon. But, Tangrowth has a really high base defense and Alcremie has a really high base special defense. So in certain situations when maybe she needs like a defensive switch in on a team, when she's seeing a team that has a lot of attack and not a lot of special attack, or has a lot of special attack and not a lot of attack, she can kind of put those guys into the team. Now, sadly, Alcremie is not Gmax Alcremie, just because, Gmax Alcremie is more fun, I think. But but it's...
Yeah, I think you don't really want to max Alcremie all that often.
Yeah.
You just decorate.
No, but Alcremie still does get Decorate, and I mean, imagine Alcremie decorating under Tailwind onto a Tyranitar or something like that. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it at all.
Yeah. But I think we talked about this last time. Like we're looking at probably the first 7, 8 Pokemon are being the main Pokemon that she's bringing every time. I can see her just bringing this first team of 6 every single game, right? Because it's just so threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Last thing, I think we noted that Trick Room is game ending for her.
Yeah.
If Trick Room is up, then she loses, and like her ways to stop it are pretty limited. So like I think that's the biggest problem with this team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Titar maybe is her best Pokemon under Trick Room, right? And it's not really that slow. It's not generally it works generally well under Trick Room, but it's not like the best Trick Room mon out there because its speed is still kind of fast.
Yeah, if she got Gigalith, then I think it would work much better because it has a good Trick Room answer with less than 30 speed, which is really important because 30 is like the main Trick Room speed mode thing.
Yeah. I just think Tyranitar is a great Pokemon to have to support Calyrex and for switch outs and things like that, right? Like when you're hitting Calyrex, you can switch in Tyranitar to take some of those physical attacks.
Yeah, both like Dark and Ghost, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we weren't sure about is, Luxio maybe can be useful with Intimidate, but then Duskull and Eevees just seem like, they're $1, so, you kind of just throw them in at the end.
Yeah, they're just fillers.
Yeah, they're just kind of fillers. I'd be curious, I was looking and I saw, right, like, Trapinch on this still out there. Could be interesting to have Trapinch on this team and Arena Trap with Calyrex Shadow in there and your opponent just being like crap. If you're stuck in that situation, you can't do anything. Calyrex Shadow is just going to hit you hard. So that could be interesting. Somebody to have on this team, or even like a Jigglypuff or something like that. That's still out there with Friend Guard to help support this team a little bit more defensively. Because Calyrex Shadow, Dracovish, even Salamence are a little, and Talonflame and Excadrill are a bit frail, right? So maybe a little bit more defensive support on this team. But I mean, if she hits hard and fast enough like she did last season, I don't think it matters.
He doesn't need the support.
Yeah.
Yeah, acting first is gonna be very important there.
Yeah.
If you like get hit with priority or your opponent sets a trick room, then that's where the trouble starts.
Yep. All right. I'm ready to rank this team. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. I think we're all in agreement. This is A tier.
This is A tier.
Yeah. And do we want to put it in front of Hasegal's team, or do we?
Yeah, I do think it's better than Hasegal's as a draft. Like, I think it's better.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna put
It's like
Hasegal's
the
in like
complete opposite
D tier.
of mine.
Yeah, I was just gonna put you in
Like-
D tier.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And the thing is, this is like really straightforward, right? You can see what it's gonna do. You can see how it's gonna play. It's just gonna go hard and fast and hit hard, and then you have Hasegal's, which, as he says, is like the complete opposite. So
Yeah. I just like the way she sets up her team and plays. It's like she's gonna lay her cards on the table, tell you what she's gonna do, and you're either gonna stop it or not, and she doesn't care.
Good luck with it.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the Eindhoven Elektriks. Electrics. Oxawave, this is your team, so Hasegal and I are gonna judge it, and then you can tell us why you did what you did.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Hasegal, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I can start. This team is super scary, but it has 8 months, which is, I think, the biggest downside for this team. Like Yveltal, Metagross, Dustclop, Primorina, Mammothwine are all top meta, hard hitting, super strong picks. Raichu is incredible support for Yveltal and Primorina. Blaziken gives you 2 types which you really want for this team, and Ditto is an amazing support. I think, like, an amazing smart choice. Because you have only limited amount of months, having the flexibility with Ditto is going to be key to success, I think. It's really hard to prep against, because you can't know which Pokemon he will turn into. So, like, you need to have checks for his team and your team as well, which is kind of scary.
When I first looked at this team, I was just like, this team is thick. It is bulky. Yveltal, Metagross, Dustclops, all really bulky. Primarina is special defensively bulky. And then kind of later on in the draft, bringing in the more frail but a little bit speedier type Pokemon with Mamoswine, Raichu, and Blaziken. And I think that's kind of a nice breakdown for the team. I just see, this team really wants to go mainly Trick Room if it wants to set up speed, and if not, right, you can just go protect Speed Boost Blaziken and try to come in from the opposite side, and then Ditto just kind of gives that extra boost. Maybe you get a free extra legendary in the battle or something like that. The thing I didn't know about was... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think for my faster mode, I think Yveltal just maxing and using Air Streams is very viable. You can see it in ladder as well, and it also does get Tailwind, but I don't think I'm gonna use it very often. So I think Air Streams are like my main speed up control.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed like. I mean, I imagine you wouldn't be using Tailwind with Fletching very often, but when you do bring it, I'll be impressed.
I've used it before in season 1 next to Dracozolts. It does its job if the opponent doesn't expect it and doesn't bring Fake out, but otherwise it's kind of meh.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then I don't know what you're doing with Charjabug and Litten.
One good thing about Max Airstream Yveltal is that it hits like 149, which means at +1 it can outspeed Calyrex, Shadow, and Zacian. Which I think is pretty good for Yveltal.
Yeah, that'll be really, really big for Yveltal, because Zacian kind of walls Yveltal, right? Like in terms of typing and everything.
Yeah. It's kind of why it's not as popular on the ladder at the moment, I think. Just prevalence of Sage again.
Yeah.
But Metagross, Mamoswine, and Blaziken can all, if they outspeed, or Metagross not outspeeding but outbulking, they can all deal with Zacian pretty well.
Yeah, definitely.
And Dio can do could essentially get the +2 from Zacian and get the Scarf bonus, which is like, it's hard to run Zacian against Dio.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
if you taste your own medicine.
Yeah, but like one thing to watch out for is if Zacian subs and you switch in Dido, I'm pretty sure Imposter wouldn't work. You stay at the Dido form.
Yeah, that might be the case.
To
be honest, I haven't really looked into how Ditto exactly works, but I'll find out.
You can just find out in battle.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
We can watch you find out in battle.
Yeah, I think most has been said about my team, right? I kind of wanted to build around Veltal, so I took Metagross to cover fairy weakness. I took Raichu to cover the electro type weakness, and then I just started filling the gaps with Primina. I really wanted Tapu Fini, but like that would have been too much to ask. So I went with Primarina. And then Mamoswine is just really nice typing. Can maybe triple weakness policy with Ice Shard on Veltal.
Yeah, and you have a little cheeky move right there to kind of annoy people with your side procs. Everybody's doing side procs now.
Yeah, I had my eyes on Comfey as well, but Comfey went really quick with Quick Waiver.
That could have been good too.
One thing I would like this team to have is like a dedicated Trick Room abuser, because you're using Trick Room with 70 base speed mons, which on Nether can work because most teams are fast and effective, but maybe in draft when your opponent will have slower mons, so that might be a problem for this team.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've run like min speed Primarina before, and like of course it's pretty slow. Like it definitely gets outsped by like the slowest of mons. I think it'll do fine, but you're making a good point. I might look into that. Like it's
still like a really strong.
I did a lot of points.
Yeah.
I said this last time as well. Like if I'm gonna make a change, I would maybe want to pick up like a fake tiers mon to like get some hard hits with eval play instantly.
Yeah.
And Primarina
as well.
Yeah, we're gonna judge you. I think where did we put him last time? B tier.
Last time we put him like high B.
High B, yeah.
Like top B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So far, a nice even split there between A, B, and C tier.
Yeah.
All right.
So
we all know how this kind of ends up.
Yeah. Moving on to the New Jersey Jellicents, team coached by Cheesy, and this is Sun mode, and I mean mostly I just see Sun mode on here with just some interesting support on the team, right? And Cherim kind of takes advantage of the Sun. You get Suicune for Tailwind, and it's a
for like grass immunity, both Force Weaken and Groudon. Like, not sure if you need it if you have Steel.
Yeah. And Celesteela, obviously a really great Pokemon, but interesting to use in Sun. And yeah, you guys wanna jump into it?
Yeah, I'm gonna critique a little bit. I'm not sure about the Celesteela pick here in the Sun. Like it was last season MVP, and it got that way through like screen support, like Raichu being a good support for it. But here you're like hindering it with the Sun. I think it can work, and it will probably work in some ways, but I'm just not sure about it. I think he could have gotten something else. Also, like Charizard is good, but it also kind of wants another speed control option next to it, other than Suicune, which is kind of a slow tailwind.
Yeah, I completely agree with Oxo. Celesteela is a lot of points. You want to make sure you can use it to its maximum potential. And this team can't really do that. Lightning Rod with Marowak is not great. You can't always switch it in. It doesn't get any boost from it because you're always running physical. I think like the best support you got here is Purloin, and Purloin is like, if you kill it, like it's not that good. It's not fast, so like you only use like Foul Play and Fake Use Charm, which is good, but like I feel like it's not enough to make Celesteela work offensively. Then defensively, if you have Sun, you can just run Lead Seed Protect Celesteela because it will get demolished by Sun moves. Fire moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not really like I see Max Rockfalls coming in, and I'm just not seeing like a switch in for Charizard or Blacephalon. Like a Max Rockfall, Groudon's going to take a hard hit. Every Pokemon's going to take quite a bit of damage when somebody wants to do that. And then they just change the weather on you, right, to sand. So now you're trying to get your sun back. Yeah, I'm interested to see how they use Blacephalon with Mind Blown. Because it doesn't feel like there's a Pokemon next to it that can take advantage of Mind Blown. And correct me if I'm wrong or missed something, guys. And so that could be kind of a little bit scary here.
Yeah, I agree with the Blacephalon choice. It's not that good. I don't think it benefits the team that much because you already have Charizard. So another Rock weakness, not great. Ghost weakness, not that good because you don't really have like Dark type to take it. Ghost hit.
Yeah. So
maybe you can set up Rain with Purloin and then trigger weakness policy on Celesteela with Blacephalon Mind Blow.
Yeah, Purloin.
That's a lot of setup. That's like Rain and Mind Blown.
Yeah.
To get the weakness policy.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit much. I know you didn't like Marowak for Lightning Rod, but what about Pichu? Right, Pichu maybe could be the offensive attacker.
I had Pichu for season 1 of the APDL, and I brought it 0 times. Never good enough to actually justify it. I mean, it has 205 base stats.
Yeah, it's got 15 defense.
Rookie.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But I do personally like, speaking of the good sides of the team, I really like the Sun mode with Groudon Charizard. I think that hits so hard, and imagine doing like a Scarf Charizard in Sun with Groudon next to it and heat waving your opponent. That's almost the equivalent of Calyrex Shadow, just spamming Astral Barrage, right? And
I think Groudon is very good there with maybe like a Sword Dance setup first. I think next to Cherrim, it's also going to be really good. I really like the Cherrim pick here.
Yeah, I think Cherrim will be really nice in Sun. The only thing is it'll be hard to get a Swords Dance set up with Groudon, but maybe you can do it, if you're offensively pressuring with Charizard and Groudon, right? Like they're going to try and maybe probably target Charizard. You can get a chance to just Swords Dance with the Groudon, switch Charizard out. Some things there. Goodra's an interesting pick. Where I'm not sure. I love the special defense bulk on Goodra, but its defense is just so weak, and I don't feel like this team is like forcing the opponent to swing one way or the other. It's like, if this team was like super especially defensively weak, and then you have Goodra on the team, then it could be nice, but. We'll see. I mean, maybe Goodra's like a good switch in for Groudon, right? Like they both have, Groudon has a really high defense. Gudra has a really high special defense.
To grass and water and resist water, which is nice. But
I think that's gonna be its biggest function. Like usually, as an offensive threat, it's like very bad comfy, right? For either triggering weakness policy or step zipper.
Yeah.
So I think it's mainly gonna be used as like a grass type switch in here.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like going up against this team, I wouldn't see myself trying to go rain mode on this team. So maybe that's a good thing. But with Sun, with Celesteela, even with the fire types, maybe you don't want to go rain mode against this team. So you'd have to find another way around it. And sand seems to be pretty common so far.
One last thing I want to add is the Suicune pick, which is also a lot of points, and I'm not sure what it can do for this team, because like this team is super offensive with Charizard and Blacephalon and Groudon. And Suicune is a slow Pokemon. You want to play the slow game with it, get the Tailwind, Icy Winds. No, just try to stall your opponents a bit. Which pairs with Celesteela, but then again, if you have Sun, Celesteela can do that.
Right.
So like, a faster Tailwind option, I think will be a lot better. Get a better speed here for this team, which the fastest one is 107, which is not great. And like Robot is free for less points, so you can get something better than Pichu.
Yeah, and Cheesy has another point here. So so maybe you can definitely do that and make that last point useful. All right, you guys ready to rank this team? All right, what did we say? B? You guys didn't say B tier?
I think last time we said B, but like I'm even willing to put it like high C. Like Groudon is a threat, so makes it hard to put it in C.
Yeah.
The composition is not the best for this team.
Yeah, I think it needs to make like some trades, maybe some free agent trades, and it can get a lot better. I think B is fine.
Yeah. I think this team has room to do that. I don't, outside of maybe the first like 4, I don't really see the next set of Pokemon having to stick around. So there's some options to kind of move things around, and there's still some really good Pokemon left on the board. So I'm curious to see how people change their team as it goes on.
Yeah, the thing with Sun in the format we're using is that there's only one Venusaur right now. I think that's something you really want with Sun.
Yeah, definitely. All right, moving on to Big Mac Zach with the Sin City Salamences, and this team is interesting. Kieran White leads with the legendary, and then you have 2 really offensive, hard-hitting Pokemon in Kartana and Xurkitree, and some interesting support Pokemon. I think some good support Pokemon in Hitmontop and Meowstic. But my favorite in this whole lineup is Shiinotic with with Spore, basically like a cheap Amoonguss, and I think it's gonna, if used correctly, I think it might be the most annoying thing out there. But tell me what you guys think about this team.
I have like mixed feelings about this team because it has a lot of components which I really like, but I think it lacks the speed control to make them work. I think Shiinotic is like a smart pick here because that's your anti-Trick Room one. You don't need to kill everything if you can just spore them in Trick Room. So like, if you can switch it in the turn Trick Room comes out, then just spore everything, stall it out, and just start attacking with your 170 base mount, base attack one. I think Shiinotic is really smart here. This team is like super hyper offense, I think, with 3-1, with over 170 in their base offensive stat. Then you have Charkist for support and Hitmontop, and I think Italian is also here for support, for Soak, so Xurkitree can hit things. But like, it's really weak to Blizzard spam with no real resist.
Yeah, Kieran White, Togekiss, Landorus, all just get destroyed.
Spread damage in general is just devastating for this team. Because like, you're relying on Xurkitree a lot. So like, you'll have to utilize Whiteout on Hitmontop, I think, to survive spread damage.
Yeah, I think it's pretty dependent on that. I do like Kartana paired with Kieran White. And now you have, Kartana, Togekiss, Kieran as your Fairy Dragon Steel core. So that's pretty nice. It's just so frail, right? It's like if it takes one special attack hit, even with AV, it's going to be a lot of damage. And so that'll be interesting to see how that works on this team. And actually, what's interesting is Inteleon kind of supports Xurkitree and Kartana for with the Soak spam if they're going to try and do that.
Yeah, I think this team definitely is tricky to play against, but I think there's definitely some exploitable weaknesses there with the 4x fire weakness on Katana and the 4x ice weakness on Landorus. And as mentioned before, like the multiple ice weaknesses across the board, with Rapidash being like a good option against that. But yeah, Katana as well. But Katana is also frail, so it's gonna be really key to kind of identify the threats in this drop and like eliminate them first before it can like send out Landorus or Cure.
Yeah, and I think, Meowstic is a great support Pokemon for this team. Like, it feels like it probably really wants the screen support, and Meowstic can provide that for the team. Kind of like Grimmsnarl providing that for some of the other teams that we're going to see and that we've seen in previous seasons. And Togekiss is I don't love the Togekiss pick, but if Kyurem White is going to take a fighting attack, Togekiss is a great switch in for that, right? And so that's like a nice thing to have there. But yeah, you're right. Like,
also a dragon type attack.
What's that?
Also the dragon type attacks, which it is immune to.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So Togekiss kind of fits in well there, and it has Follow Me, so it can help redirect away any sort of attacks that are going to be on Kyurem. It gets Yawn. It's kind of annoying. You can Dynamax it, right, and Super Lock and crit everybody, and maybe get some speed control that way. Because there's no Tailwind on this team, which is interesting. But this team already has some speed, right, with Inteleon. Kartana's decently fast. So there's some things that you can do here with that. But I think the screens are kind of the key for this team.
Yeah, I think Meowstic and Togekiss are going to be central pieces here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this team really benefits Tailwind.
Mm-hmm.
So, because there's so much to attack, but they need to attack first in order to actually do something. And I'm not sure this team can provide the right support for it. Like, Meowstic can work. It's really annoying, really good in draft because of its wide move pool. But it's not the most consistent. And Togekiss just shares so many weaknesses with the rest of the draft. I think it only works well with circuitry. But you still need it for the other ones to succeed.
Yeah, and I think maybe the other way of getting speed control is does Meowstic get Thunder Wave? It does. So maybe Thunder Wave Meowstic is kind of the way to get speed control for this team.
Or like Trick Legging Tail could also work.
Yeah, something cheeky like that could be the way. I do like though Hitmontop as their Intimidate Pokemon with Fake Out. And it's just such a good support Pokemon and frustrating to go up against, right? And it, if it's about to die out, right, you can always have it use Bullet Punch to at least get one last shot before it goes. So yeah, this team's got some things going for it. I'm interested to see how this kind of fits all together. We know, Big Mac Zach is a good player, so we'll be interested to see kind of how his team works out and how he uses it. All right.
For sure.
How do we want to rank the Sin City Salamences? Do we have them in B tier?
I think we did it B tier last time, but I'm down to also putting it in C. But it has a lot of potential, but not sure if it has the right support to make it work.
I personally have it in C because it just has so many weaknesses that can't really be exploited.
Okay.
As you said, it has a lot of potential.
All right. Sorry, Big Mac Zach. When you're watching this, we're putting you in C tier. Don't hate us or do, but let us know. All right. Moving on. What do we have?
Wrong.
Yeah, prove us wrong. Next, we have the Springfield Shedinjas. And this is Isla Chan. Is I don't know if it's a she or he. I think it's a she. But let me know if I'm wrong. In either way, Zacian Crown, always probably the most devastating Pokemon in the format right now. And then you have Dragapult, Lando, Latias, Terrakion, Rotom, Wash, Colossal, Cottony, and then the last three. I'm not really sure what you're doing with the last three. I think they're just fillers because there's so much money, so many points spent up at the top. But yeah, no, overall, I think this is a pretty interesting team. I think Landorus and Latias are nice to have on, and Rotom Wash are nice to have on the team for Zacian when people are trying to use a Max Quake into it. And so those guys provide a nice defensive counter for the team. And, Dragapult's super speedy, super fast. So yeah, this is an interesting team. There's a few setups like Beat Up and Surf for Colossal, Beat Up for Tracheon, Surf for Colossal. Cottony can kind of give you that speed control. Let me know what you guys think.
I personally don't like this team.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of shared weaknesses. With the ground type, it has some cover for with switches, but it still has 3 months weak to ground, 3 months weak to ice, 3 months weak to fairy, and if you're running 7 months, basically 7.5 if you count Cottony, then you want them to have good type coverage together. This team relies a lot on gimmicks with. I'll call it a gimmick because it is a gimmick, just a working one. Colossal and Terrakion. You need the setup for them to do something. I feel like it's they're not the best Pokemon. I think my biggest problem with this team, it's the Colossal. Colossal GMX is just so much better. Because a lot of times, especially in draft where every Pokemon on your opponent's team can have a water move, the Colossal will die after 1 or 2 turns. So the residual damage is actually pretty important. And I think you should have invested for the GMX form.
Yeah, I think that's the tough part is I don't, there's no real budget left with the last 3 Pokemon being $1 or 1 point Pokemon. And Colossal is very, the Colossal really is only used in one way, and that's, activating weakness policy, getting off that Volcalith. I'm not sure if a Rockfall is gonna be that useful for this team. Now, to be fair, if Colossal sets up Sand with Max Rockfall, that actually it's not the worst thing with Terrakion, Landorus, and Zacian, I guess, with not taking hits in the sand. But are you
usually
really?
You want to max Terrakion.
Yeah, but yeah, you're gonna want to max Terrakion. Do you really want to run Sand with this team? It's not really a Sand team, but maybe Sand can be useful. I do like Cottony a lot. Cotton Down is really nice, and it could be kind of annoying, right? It gets Charm and almost every single move that Whimsicott gets, so it could be kind of useful in this on this team as well.
Yeah, I've said this multiple times in the server. After last season, I had Latias myself. I'm not a fan of Latias anymore. It sounds good on paper, but a lot of things can just one-shot it, and it does have quite a lot of weaknesses. So I think this draft could really get a lot better by dropping the Latias and maybe distributing the points here and now investing in for one the GMX Colossal and then maybe something else for Lilypup and Drizzle. So maybe get some more mid-tier monster keep your opponents guessing instead of having such a straightforward team. And GMX Colossal will add a lot more than Latias will add probably.
Yeah. I think that's I agree with that. I was just thinking about this. This team reminds me of Froggy Bomb's team, where he kind of had the set up Colossal and then the beat up with
the Parisian last season, I think.
Yeah. So it's kind of the other 2 modes of this team are kind of the same, and they're both setup modes. But with Zacian on this team, it's just obviously it's always going to be scary, right? It's and you're gonna be able to get speed control with Cottony, and so I think that kind of works out pretty well. The only thing here is this team is I would say on the faster end. So how do you stop Trick Room, right? Are you going to really bring Hatchram into a matchup to try and reverse Trick Room or something like that? So maybe this is one of those things where it's kind of like not going all in on quick offense, but maybe I feel like it might need a mode to kind of prevent Trick Room from getting up or Trick Room from taking over.
Yeah, unless you intend to bring like Flash Fire, Colossal, with weakness policy without the speed boost. Like, you don't have any Trick Room mons that can do it well in Trick Room.
Yeah.
And, like, except from Cotton and Baby Encoring, you don't have a way to really stop Trick Room. Like Fake Out Trick Room, Follow Me Trick Room, Ally Switch Trick Room.
Yeah.
Will probably get the job done like 99% of the time. And Trick Room is super devastating for this team.
Yeah. And I don't see a Fake Out user here either, which would be helpful to have on this team. But actually, Colossal under Trick Room might not be terrible. So, and I do actually really like Encore Cottony, because last season, Aria Alexa, she just destroyed with Encore Whimsicott so often. I just was like, I watched her have like a taunt and Encore Whimsicott, and that was just like absolutely ridiculous. So
yeah, that was very funny to see.
Yeah. So there might be some things here that Isla might have under her or his bag of tricks that we're just not seeing. But if Lillipup comes out with the pickup ability, I'm going to be very confused.
I highly doubt it.
I think the only low-tier Pokemon who might come is Drizzile for the Aqua Jet for Colossal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do much else. It's like you can just leave it on the field after it does that and just get the other one.
Yeah, I do like the fact that Drizzle at least provides Aqua Jet for Colossal, and Dragapult can do Surf, so you kind of have two ways to, if you really wanted to use Colossal, you have two ways to proc a policy there. Yeah, I find this team to be interesting. Yeah, you guys have anything else you want to talk about with this team? You ready to rank?
Zacian is OP.
Zacian is OP. That's honestly, that might be the scariest. I think that's probably the scariest Pokemon in this entire draft.
Yeah, I think Zacian just warrants enough respect for BT replacement.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Okay, so what did we have her at, or him at? B tier?
Yeah, I think Cheetah's team is better. So like, I would put him there.
Yeah, I just can't put a team with Zacian that low. I think
Yeah, for sure.
No matter what, you still have.
We can put him in C.
What's that?
We can put Zacian in C.
Yeah, we can't put Zacian in C, and it's not like this is a bad team around them. Like Landorus provides still a lot of value, and Dragapult is still providing a lot of value as well. And I still do like the Rotom Wash. I'm just not seeing how, and Cottony, I'm just not seeing how some of the other bigger Pokemon on this team kind of fit in. But I'm curious to find out. I'm probably missing something. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Spade's team with the Metro Metagross, and this team looks somewhat familiar to his last team with Kingdra Pelipper, and then Boltund. Oh God, Boltund's back. Crap. And then you got Necrozma, Dustmane, Glastrier, Arcanine. I actually think the first four Pokemon really kind of pair together really well, and then there's some good support there with Pelipper and Boltund. And even Wartortle, I think, could be kind of useful with Fake Out and just kind of being there. So, and Yawns and things like that. So it could be interesting. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about this team.
Yeah, I really like this team. I really like the Metagross main as well. So I think it's a great mon for draft here, and it's got some great support around it, as you said, with the Rain Core. I do think it likes like a guaranteed Trick Room setup with maybe a redirection user here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can offload Trick Room onto Mashana as well, but Mashana is like Mashana, it's decent, but can get one shot.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Ferromosa here as an offensive option, but I also would like to see like Leodu or Lipart with a copycat Trick Room option on the Crossbar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Boltons with competitive is not enough to deter Intimidate, so I think he definitely needs to do something about the Intimidate weakness with the Crossbar and Glacier.
Yeah, I think that would be probably one of the biggest issues for this team.
I think like Riolo coaching is will fit a lot better on this team.
Yeah.
However, Ferromosa gives you a faster speed than Calyrex, which is a big problem for this team that doesn't have any ghost resist or immunity.
Yeah.
So like that's a really important thing to note.
Yeah.
Also, it helps against the not guaranteed Trick Room option. But like, if you could get a guaranteed Trick Room option instead of Ferromosa, then maybe it's better.
Yeah, I don't like Ferromosa as a means of speed control. Like speed swap is fine, but I'm not a fan personally. Ferromosa can get faked out too easily if that's what you're using it for.
Yeah, that's the scary part about this team. And Pelipper is nice. It could provide rain and you can do Tailwind with it. But it's also not that fast in general. So, you're running Pelipper Kingdra to do an Airstream. Maybe you do switch in, Necrozma, or maybe you're trying to go with fast Glastrier, like boosted speed Glastrier or something.
Choice Glastrier.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. What I did notice is that Wartortle does get Haze, so that maybe could be helpful. Eviolite Wartortle as a support Pokemon to help kind of negate all those Intimidates or anything like that for Glastrier. So that could be interesting. But I feel like this team...
Fake Out Soldu, I feel like is a decent set for it.
Yeah, at $2, at 2 points, I think it's a really great Pokemon. It gets Icy Wind as well, right? And you can always just stick Helping Hand on it if you weren't sure.
I feel like a problem this team here has is that electric type moves are extremely spammable here. They don't have a ground type and like 1, 2 resists. Actually 3 if you count Draclo, but like you don't really. And the rest of his mon just like either take a lot from it or it can switch into it. And, like electric is too spammable to not have a check for it. I feel like you have Regieleki, Thunderous, a lot of strong picks that can just spam moves and nothing can stop them. Yeah.
I think that would be one area that's kind of scary for this team. But I think, overall this team is just so strong. I think it's built really well. You get the fast speed control with the rain for Kingdra, with Kingdra and Pelipper. Arcanine's a great switch in with Intimidates to just help out. Bolton is absolutely annoying, as we saw last season. I think every game I watch Bolton and I was like, there's no way they just leave this thing out. And every time it gets left out, it just absolutely wrecks the opponent's Pokemon and makes it absolutely useless. So I could see, we know Spade is a really good player. I think he ended the season as the #1 team going into the playoffs. So I'm sure he's looking to push for a comeback this season into, a deeper playoff run. I think I like his team. Go ahead.
Last season he lost to like 2 head smash misses, I think.
Yeah.
In a row, which like lost in game 3.
Yeah, what are you gonna do when it happens? But I think his team is great because you kind of have. I almost think this team is like a 1 through 6 kind of team, or 1 through 11 kind of team where you can bring anybody. And he has an extra point sitting on the side to upgrade a little bit more if he needed to. So I'm interested to see how this team plays out. I'm not 100% sold on the Formosa as well, but it's really fast and it hits really, really hard. So there's something to be said about that.
I've been using Formosa in another draft and it's actually doing amazing.
Okay.
Actually, I have Formosa and Necrozma.
Oh,
and
okay.
Greedily.
So,
and like the speed swap, if you get Necrozma to be fast and bulky, and it can easily set up, have Morning Sun, and to survive for long, and you just can. I usually run like 2 attacks on Necrozma and either Sorceress or Morning Sun with Trick Room or Protect. Like it can do a lot of damage and it's extremely bulky.
Yeah. And
I think I would prefer like a redirection instead of Pheromosa, and then you can just set up a Dragon Dance on Necrozma as well.
Yeah, I think Spades probably has a lot of plans for this team. What I do like is just, the first 3 Pokemon, or the first 2 mainly, Necrozma and Glastrier. There's a bunch of different options you can play them, right? AV or Weakness Policy or Lumberry or whatever. So there's some options to kind of switch around and not be so linear with the way you kind of use your Pokemon each week.
Yeah, like I think a main weakness for this team is Intimidate. But Kingdra can deal with most of the Intimidate mounts with Geyser, Ice Beam, and Hurricane.
Yeah.
To 8 Hitmontop and such. So you can deal with most of the Intimidate Pokemon in the game with Kingdra Pelipper.
Yeah. So I do like it. I think it's a nice mix of physical attackers and a really strong special attacker in there. And Formosa kind of goes both ways with you can run it special or you can run it physical. I think most people generally run it physical, but it has the option. Cool. All right, you guys ready to rank this team?
Yeah.
I think it's an easy A tier.
Yeah.
Really strong team.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I want to put it either before or after St. Michael's Alchemy. They're also the number 1 and 2 teams to finish off last season as well, which is funny.
Yeah.
I'll put the St. Michael's.
I would put it. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, I think it's good like that.
Okay. Cool. All right. Moving on to the next team, the Massachusetts Meltans, coached by Odie. And this is an interesting team. I think there's only, I don't know why he only drafted 7 Pokemon, but he did. Because these guys don't exist. And I don't expect to ever see them out in play. But,
I went pretty hard on this draft last recording. And I still think it's not that good.
It didn't change your mind overnight, huh?
Nope.
But he's got, I'm a big fan of Grimmsnarl. I'm a big fan of Rillaboom. I think Dialga and Rillaboom kind of make a nice pairing if somebody were to try and use Earthquake. Grassy Terrain helps Dialga a little bit there, but Max Quake is obviously still going to be an issue. Regigigas Weezing, I think, is still really good. I just don't think it's as good as before with all these, restricted Pokemon out here now. And then, Marowak is nice to have, but I don't really see this team using a Trick Room mode too much. And then Galar Articuno, I really like Galar Articuno with competitive, but I don't see it taking advantage of an Intimidate spam on this team. I think one of you guys were saying Snarls.
Snarl.
Yeah, so maybe that's how Articuno takes advantage of its competitive boost. So, anyways, what do you guys think about the team? I kind of spieled a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with Oxley. I don't like this team. I think that every month that outspeeds Regigigas is a big problem for this team.
Mm-hmm.
It has some potential if you can use Grimmsnarl correctly and like utilize your mons to their max potential, but like as a draft it has a lot of shared weaknesses and problems. You have a 7-mon draft, which is it's too easy to prep for. Your only versatile mons are Grimmsnarl and maybe Articuno. Like Rillaboom does basically the same thing. Either a lot of damage or bulkier, but still Grassy Glide and Fake Out. That's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Regigigas Squeezing is the same thing. They can. I had it last season. You can't really run other things than like the standard stuff. And same as Marowak, like you can use Ally Switch, but would you really use Ally Switch Marowak? Like
We're gonna find
linear.
out. we're gonna find out if Ally Switch Marowak is a viable option. Maybe that is the new meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Dialga is really wants to be a Trick Room on, right? And then the only option he has next to it is Marowak Alola in a really Trick Room mode. So I think those options are pretty limited.
Mm-hmm.
I think like if you see the mons, like these are great, right? These are like top tier mons, obviously, because it's like a super top heavy draft. I just don't think they synergize them well together. I think it really will depend on Grimmsnarl to tie these mons together and make it successful.
Yeah. I think it might be a little bit hard to get Trick Room set up. Like they have, I guess like the slower Fake Out mons too. So if somebody else has like they want to do a Fake Out taunt, they could just taunt Dialga and Fake Out Rillaboom or Grimmsnarl. But that being said, Grimmsnarl provides screens, so there's some serious bulk on this team, and Dialga is already I think a pretty bulky Pokemon in general.
Yeah, it's bulky and it's got great typing.
Mm-hmm. And Articuno I think is pretty bulky. Well, I guess it's not as bulky. I keep thinking regular Articuno, but it's decently bulky. The one thing here is opponents have to prepare for Regigigas Wheezing every single week. So that's kind of something that's good because your opponent just has to have a setup in mind to stop that. So how do you play a team that's going to counter what your opponent's going to counter for Regigigas Wheezing? And maybe Dialga, Rillaboom, and Grimmsnarl can kind of provide those options. But my fear, I think, like one of you guys said before, is Dialga and Regigigas kind of have a weakness to fighting. So that might be kind of an issue there, right?
Yeah, I think so there.
But, we're nitpicking. This is, still a scary team. Like if I were to look on paper and have to see I have to go up against Regigigas Wheezing and a Dialga, and then I know they have Grimmsnarl with screens protecting it, or even like fake tears, right, to support Dialga. That's scary. That's absolutely scary.
Yeah, I really want to see the Grassy Glide Applin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like this team is, if you have enough time to prep for it, you can probably win against it. But if you don't prep good enough, then it will easily just whip through your team and get like easy 2-0s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if this was in groupie draft, no offense to groupie, but I think it might work better there. But I think here everyone's like experienced enough to very easily prep for this.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, because I'm I still think they're bringing the top 7 every week. Regigigas does have a variety of moves that it can have, so there's some and Dialga as well. They both have a variety of moves that they can get with different typings, so that could be really helpful. Yeah, and
Grimmsnarl can do a lot of things.
Yeah, so there's a few Pokemon in here that can be used in a few different. Well, they have a few different moves. I guess Regigigas isn't really using it. You're not using Regigigas in a different way outside of.
I mean, you could use White God.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I could see maybe wide guard Regigigas could be useful. So there's some options here. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm hopeful that maybe we see one of those last four Pokemon show up. Abra, Applin, Axew. Did he just pick out like the last four A Pokemons or something like that?
It looks like that.
Close. But yeah, you guys have any other comments on this team?
It's super top heavy and pretty straightforward. I think it's
All right.
not my style personally.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
But overall, I still think it's a good team. I had it B tier. What do you guys think on it?
I think it's like high C.
Okay.
To be honest, like I think it's weaker than the Shedinja team,
Okay.
the Springfield Shedinjas. It has potential, but like it will be hard to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to somehow catch your opponent off guard.
Mm-hmm. All right, Oxo, what do you think?
I have it in C tier as well.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll put them in the Massachusetts Meltans in C tier for now. Alrighty. Moving on to the Detroit Dracozolts. Max Watts with this awesome team, because if I look at the first six Pokemon, it looks exactly like a team you can have in Series 9, and that's absolutely terrifying. And I think Scrafty is an amazing Pokemon to have on this team as well, with Fake Out and Intimidate. Skarmory's interesting. I'm not generally sold on Skarmory, but I think it could be useful. And then you guys can tell me how you guys would use Boldor, because I'm not exactly sure. And then Elekid and Ghastly, I think are just kind of drop-ins at the end. But Calyrex Ice is scary. Oh, go ahead.
It's top heavy again. The last 3 months are not going to be used. Like the last 2 months are probably not going to be used at all. And Boulder might be used once, but I don't really see that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this team is very scary, as you said. It kind of resembles like just a proper leather team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the main difference between this team and the Meltans team is that this team is a lot more flexible with how we play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Garchomp can always just lead and sweep. Calyrex in Trick Room, Venusaur, Torkoal in Trick Room, Tapu Fini can do a lot of different things. So like it has a lot more flexibility and a lot more things to prep against, even though it's only 8 months. So yeah, I think this team is super scary, super strong. One thing I don't like about this team is that it doesn't really have a good way to set up Trick Room, because like if you dedicate lead to stop Trick Room, you can do it, because like you have Fake Out with Crafty, but it's pretty slow, so you can outspeed it and Fake Out it.
I agree with that. I think that's kind of that's maybe one of the things that could really hurt this team. What I really do like is Calyrex Ice is just absolutely scary, right? Like even outside of Trick Room, it's got so much bulk. It could be really, really useful. But Tapu Fini, right? You have so many ways to use Tapu Fini as a screen setter, as a Calm Mind set for attacking. You can do Haze and just
Heal Pulse.
Yeah, Heal Pulse. I mean, Haze to eliminate any Intimidates. I think that's just pretty awesome. I'm personally just a big fan of Gmax Venusaur. That's like my favorite Pokemon. So I have, part of me is just like, I'm all for this team. But Venu Cole, right? You're just going to spam. You can spam Sleep Powders. You could yawn with Torkoal. So yeah, this is a nice setup, I think, up at the top.
One thing I want to note is that like it seems a lot of anti-synergy with Venusaur and Fini. However, because Fini is on your team, you can always play around it and Sleep Powder only on the turns that Fini isn't coming. And I think Max is a good enough player to do that and actually utilize Sleep Powder and the Mr. Terrain control that you get.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you also need to be careful with the drought ability from Torkoal and having Calyrex Ice out, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What I do like.
This team has a lot of.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This team has a lot of ways to deal with fire types. I feel like Earth Power, Venusaur, and Garchomp are like the main fire type stoppers, and they're good against most fire types. I feel.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just like Tapu Fini having Misty Terrain to protect Calyrex, Ice, and Garchomp from any burns. That just having that out there, will deter your opponent from even bringing Will-O-Wisp, right, on their team. So, and then Porygon too is just so versatile with Eerie Impulse, and you were talking about Foul Play last time, which can be quite scary on anybody who's trying to Sword Zance up, right? So.
Also, I know Max Watts likes having offensive Porygon too, and Dynamaxing it and doing damage and being super bulky. So that's an option, which actually brought to finals last season.
Yeah. And you can get a little bit of speed control. If if the speed tiers are really close, you might be able to use Porygon to get you that speed control with Max Strike too. Which would be really cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this team. I personally, I think, have it in A tier. But I want to get your guys' opinions. Well, if you got any extra comments.
Yeah, I have it at the top of A tier. I really like it.
Yeah, this is my favorite team as well. Like, I would put it either in top A or possibly S. But then it's like pre-season, I would still put it in A. Because it's not super broken, just how to deal with.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in A tier. I think it just has a lot. We have to prep a lot for it. I don't want to put anybody in S tier yet, or D tier, except for the bulky Ferrothorns maybe. But yeah. All right, moving on to the Wisconsin Wigglytuffs, who have a very interesting team. Tough Luck has Solgaleo, Incineroar, Thundurus, Spectrier. I mean, those 4 Pokemon are some of the most commonly used Pokemon right now in Series 9, and then Clefable, or Series 8, I don't know what series we're on, and then Blastoise. Okay, yeah, and Blastoise and Noivern for speed control. I don't like the Linloon as much because it can't use Eviolite, so it can't really stick around. But it does still have the speed, and it still does have some of the same annoying moves of Snarl and Icy Wind, so maybe there's some use there. And I'm not sure about Pinsir and Cutiefly, but that's kind of just my general summation of the team. What do you guys think about it?
This team is another top-heavy draft, which I would actually make even... I don't see how Linoone and Pinsir really help this team. So I would actually just make them T1 Pokemon and make Rhydon like top 3 or at 8 points or something like that. Because Rhydon is not that impressive. You want Weakness Policy and Eviolite, so not sure how you can really utilize it.
You can trick your own Pokemon with I don't know.
Yes, Weakness Policy and trick, yeah. The rest of the team I quite like. I think there's some anti-synergy with Thundurus and Incineroar and Solgaleo. Because no one will bring Intimidate against this team. I don't think a lot of people will bring Snarl as well. So you don't have a lot of ways to set up Thundurus. So maybe Zapdos would be better for this team. Spectrier Solgaleo is strong and solid core. Can always lead it in most matchups and do well. Incin is always amazing. And Spectrier here plays a double role, either as support or can be pretty offensive with Clef as to support it. It can either nasty plot and sweep, or just go live orb and sweep from turn 1. I think Spectrier would be really good here.
Yeah, I think I kind of like. I know they're never really gonna activate Defiant on Thundurus, or I can't see that happening too often. But I do like Thundurus being there for Solgaleo for switching in for a Max Quake, or if somebody's trying to do a Max Rockfall, then Solgaleo kind of can come in for that for Thundurus. And Incineroar Thundurus are just so versatile, right? You can kind of switch them in and out. I think the one thing I would try to do is maybe upgrade Blastoise to G-Max Blastoise and just add that extra threat on this team, just to make it like that much scarier. Like G-Max Blastoise, I think is only a couple more points, and I think it's so worth it to have. Even if Blastoise only gets one attack off, right? The residual damage from that is just useful. But Blastoise is a really versatile Pokemon in itself with Fake Out, with Yawn, and
Water Spout.
Water. Yeah, exactly. You can set up with Blastoise, so there's options there. And now they have to be worried about the first thing they're always going to prep. Your opponent's going to prep for generally is like Spectre, Solgaleo, but then you come in with Clefable Blastoise, right? Are they ready for that? So. Yeah, I think and Noivern's a nice tailwind support there too. So
I think this team has some really nice options, but the downside of that there's not like a lot of immediate offense, right? If you want to set up the Solgaleo with Weakness Policy, you can only set up the Blastoise as well. Like Spectre can really just start blasting from the first turn. I think this does require like a turn setup beforehand.
Yeah, I think it will require a bit of setup, but I think some of the Pokemon here are just so strong in the front. I really like Clefable with Follow Me, and just to help kind of keep take hits for other Pokemon and things like that, and just having that threat on the field. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this team turns out and how Tough Luck plays this. Yeah, any other comments, guys?
I think Tough Luck can pull it off. He's a great player. He won the 2FK division last season.
Oh, okay.
I feel like he has potential to do well in this team.
Yeah.
In this league and with this team.
Yeah, and I think this is a well-drafted team. So, yeah. All right, you guys ready to rank? I want to say B tier?
Yeah, I think B tier is decent. Somewhere in the middle, like I think after Baldur's team.
Okay.
No, yeah, on the other side. Yeah, I think here is good for it.
Cool. Alrighty. Moving right along, last three teams. We have the Central Dragonites, and this team is coached by Slick Ninja, who I think also just moved up from Thwacky Division last season as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And he had a pretty good season. And his team is led by Rayquaza and Cinderace, and then support with Clefairy. And I really like the Ferrothorn pick. And Comfy kind of pairs nicely with Rayquaza. Some interesting defensive Pokemon with Mudsdale in there as well. So this is an overall very interesting team. I can't see him bringing, obviously, Dratini and Meowth, but I'm curious. Maybe they have some value for the team. Meowth does have Fake Out, so that could be useful. What are you guys' thoughts on his team?
I don't like it. Rayquaza is just bad, I think. And even more so in draft, when you will bring ice moves and the right coverage for it. And like it's quite versatile offensively with can run both physical and special and good move pool. But 95 base speed and bad typing, like gonna be tough. All I have to say, I think.
Yeah, so I think that the weaknesses are going to be pretty manageable. Like you have Cinderace to destroy ice types, so really you only have to worry about non-step ice type moves. I think
water types with ice moves will be hard to deal with.
Yeah, that is true. And although Ferrothorns for that as well, but I think Clefairy really is a valuable pick here to try the drain card for Rayquaza. Also, you can heal it back up with Comfey as well if you need that. And I do think the trigger mode here is pretty decent as well, with 5 volt and Mudsdale.
You also have a cool tech with Stamina and Water Shuriken on Astalgo.
Yeah.
The weakness policy like +5 defense is pretty scary.
Yeah, that's gonna be really scary. So that could be interesting. Um, I didn't even think about the Excelgor or Mudsdale, but that's actually a nice and cheeky way to play as well. Um, I think there's kind of a bit of setup with Ferrothorn, but Friend Guard with Ferrothorn could be interesting. I feel like Ferrothorn behind screens is just a literal wall, like, unless it's a fire type attack coming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Ferrothorn also can do pretty well multiple modes, right? You can run like leftover sets, but also in assault sets, just for attack moves.
Yeah. Rayquaza, I feel like you're just gonna almost always want to max it and then just airstream to get that speed boost. And that's like kind of the only way you're really getting speed control with this team. And that might be okay if you have Clefairy, using Follow Me.
Doesn't the Selgur get like some Icy Wind, something maybe?
You know what? Rayquaza gets Icy Wind, which is interesting enough.
Yeah. I think the main form of speed control, like for speed ups, is definitely max answering from Rayquaza and Cinderace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that could be very interesting.
And I think it's fine as well. I don't think that's a bad thing to just rely on airstream. I just think, like, obviously the biggest weakness here is the 4 times ice weakness on Rayquaza. But I think it's manageable.
Yeah, I think it's pretty manageable. I think Cinderace still useful, probably a little bit less useful in this format now, but still kind of useful. And obviously Libero is a great ability. So I do like the choice of Gmax Cinderace instead of regular Cinderace, since Rayquaza has Airlock. It's just gonna ignore weather effects anyways. So that's the one thing is, like, other teams that are speed dependent based off of weather, Rayquaza can kind of ignore, takes that away, and that could even the playing field.
There's 2 sand teams. There's enough rain going around as well, so I definitely think that's a good point.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this team does. Any other comments, guys?
I'll be surprised if it can pull off Rayquaza, to be honest. But I'm still I have some hope for it to work. I don't know.
Okay, all right, not sold. All right, Slick Ninja, you'll have to prove us wrong. Where do we have the Central Dragonites? I know, Oxo, I think you had this like A B tier, and
I had it in low A tier.
Okay.
And
I had C tier.
All right, so I think we'll put him in B tier. Do you guys want to put him in the middle, kind of here?
I think like low middle is fine. Yeah.
All right, we'll put him right behind your team. There we go.
I think that's good.
Alrighty, last 2 teams. We have the Indy Indeedees, and Clint, I think, has I think he won his first playoff round last year as the 8th seed. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he did.
And then now he's got this very interesting core of just absolute blasting speed with Reggie Jellicents and Mewtwo.
Yeah.
And
it's really gotta go fast.
Yep, and Tapu Lele is great support, and there's just more hard hitting with Porygon Z. Volcarona provides some Rage Powder, Follow Me type of action, and then you have Aerodactyl for speed control, and Thievul comes in here being Thievul. But you guys tell me, what do you guys think about this team Clint put together?
Yeah, so there's a lot of speed control, right, with Reggie Jellicents and Tailwind from Aerodactyl. So I think it's very nice for Mewtwo, because it can invest heavily into special attack rather than speed. And it already has like high base speed, so that you can really pump that special attack up. And as Bardo has proven in Speed Tour, that Mewtwo can deal quite a lot of damage, and it has great coverage. There's really a lot of boosts it can select, so I think that's a great strength of this team.
Mm.
I think Tivo is like a really intelligent pick for this draft because it can outspeed Calyrex Shadow and it can deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this team doesn't have a lot to hit it for super effective. And like, you give it Psychic Terrain and not, except Tivo, nothing on this team can actually take both Astral Barrage and Expanding Force pretty well. So like, I think that's really good. One thing to note is that this team is almost completely a special attacker.
Mm-hmm.
Attacking, which is a problem. Like, you can invest mostly on special attack and on special defense and just leave every hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like a special defense would be bulky with like an Assault Vest will just completely wall this team.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot of options for physical attackers, right? Berserker, I guess, is probably the strongest physical attacker here, with the highest attack stat. It could be interesting is Regieleki never gets used this way, but maybe you go with a physical Regieleki using like physical. I don't know if it gets physical thunder attacks.
I mean, Assurance can work with this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you max Darkness, then you get a Spadef drop and you use me to pick things off.
Yeah. Let's just Regieleki is faster, so now you gotta figure out a way to make that work. But yeah.
Yeah, Regieleki does get a wild charge.
Okay. Yeah.
See, and it does get explosion, so I definitely do want to see explosion Regieleki.
All right, I'm looking for Clint. If you're watching this, I'm expecting explosion Regieleki in at least 2 matches this season.
Yeah, either that or take another physical attacker.
Yeah, I would probably swap Porygon for a physical attacker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Porygon feels maybe a little redundant here on this team. The normal type is nice with a lot of the ghost types running around, right? Spectrier, Calyrex, Shadow. So maybe it could be useful there, but I could see that being helpful. Drompa's kind of nice. I like Drampa with Cloud9 to help out against any weather teams coming in. I'm not sure what you do with Poliwrath on this team. Do you guys have any thoughts on Poliwrath here?
Dark types.
Oh.
Firewater Grass Core. I don't know. Like, it's not that useful, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect it to
can be good, but it just lacks the support here, right? Like, there's not even a brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Poliwrath fits on this team. Maybe Damp Poliwrath with Explosion Regieleki. Maybe that's the tactic here.
I think Damp stops
never mind.
Explosion.
Never mind. I lied. I'm out.
I'm not sure about this though. One thing I do see, like, against rain matchups, you can use like Rage Powder, then Rage Drum, and then use your opponent's rain to outspeed everything and kill.
Yeah, that could be interesting. I didn't even think about that. I do like Gourgeist on this team. Like, I think Gourgeist is actually a pretty good Pokemon. The typing's like pretty good. As like kind of just like having somebody for a Trick Room set, right? Or even to reverse Trick Room for this team.
Bulky.
Yeah.
Bulky.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that in my match against House first match of the season. I tried killing it with Latios, Max Player. I did 50%.
Just
I think I was like Max F. Like, Gourgeist is good defense, but not so much in the so like.
I think it also left an outlet that fires to the belt.
Yeah. Just defense. Yeah, it's
a
really
really good Crusader, I think.
I think like I don't like it on this team particularly because you have like 2 other ghost weaknesses, 1 other dark weakness, and Gourgeist has a lot of weaknesses, so you don't want them to match with your other weaknesses, I think.
Yeah, Gorgeist. Yeah, Gorgeist does kind of add more of the same weaknesses onto the team. Um, I still think, yeah, at the end of the day, I think offensively the front end just looks really scary. And Thievel's great support for this team. But I do agree, maybe it's worth having another dark type or something on this team just to kind of give it a kind of defensive oomph. If you're counting on Thievel to be an offensive threat, that might be a bad idea. But it's possible.
Yeah.
Foul play is really good, and Sucker Punch is great as well. But that might not work, right, with Psychic Terrain up. So I'm interested to see how this team works. Any other comments you guys want to add to this?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, same.
All right, it's time to rank. So Indy Indeedees, what do you guys feel?
I said B tier.
B tier? B tier?
Yeah.
Do you guys think?
I think I would put it is before all those teams.
Okay.
I think there's a ton of special attackers, but all of them are really good. It can't do enough damage.
Yeah. Yeah, having one set, having a team that's really only attacking from special attack, while it'll never be affected by Intimidate, can really hurt it. And Draft League is just easy to prepare for, right? If somebody's really prepping for your team, it just makes it really difficult. So maybe mixing up the options on this team a little bit more might be better. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe this team literally just destroys everybody, and Mewtwo, becomes the number one Pokemon.
I think if we change the Porygon 2, then we'll be in a really good shape with this. And it would be maybe 80 even.
Mm-hmm.
So a physical threat.
Yeah. Just adding
a lot of offensive power, and it will be kind of like Alexa's team, but with more options. I feel like.
Yeah, adding one more physical attacker, I think really changes that up. And I think, maybe Poliwrath doesn't fit and Berserker doesn't fit as I don't see them fitting in this team really well. They can take some of the points from those guys and put it into another Pokemon here, upgrade in there a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Cool. All right, moving on to the last team, the Sao Paulo Toucannons by Gabe's Bizo? I don't know how to say that.
By show.
By show. Okay. Sorry about that. I am not the greatest pronouncer of names. But he comes in with an interesting team with Palkia, Urshifu, Whimsicott, Heatran, and I think those are kind of a first core four that's interesting. Oranguru is really nice on this team, and obviously Avalugg is back and somehow still here. I can't believe I now have to be an Avalugg believer. So this is probably the winning team for this year.
Ice Table is back with a vengeance.
Yeah, Ice Table is back. So I mean, we don't even need to play this season because it's already over. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about this team.
It's an interesting team, I would say. It has a lot of unconventional picks, which I'm not sure if we can make them work too much. Jolteon and Golurk are not used that often. Maybe put them to use. I think the biggest weakness this team has is no flying or levitate mon. You have Jolteon, you have Heatran, you have Palkia, which doesn't boost the defense. So having a flying type would help a lot for the defensive weekend. If you can beta max Quake, that would be amazing. I don't really see it here.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem.
Yeah, I don't see somebody. I don't see a Pokemon. You can spam Max Quakes like you said, and I don't see a switch in for that on this team. I think that might be the one area where it's kind of iffy. But I do like I like Whimsicott a lot. I think Whimsicott is probably maybe one of the best support Pokemon you can have out there, right? With Tailwind and Taunt and Encore and Charm and Fake Tears and just all the other stuff it gets. It could be really useful on this team. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this. Go ahead.
Yeah, this draft it does have a lot of unconventional picks, and I've drafted with before multiple occasions in my own league, so I know he's comfortable with all of these ones, like Lopunny and Tukulur, Shokin. And I know he's a good player. It's just as a draft, it looks really unconventional, and I don't think it's as a draft it's not extremely solid. I just know he can handle it, but as a draft, it's not so amazing.
Yeah. I don't love it too much either, but I think there's some interesting things here. Oranguru is going to be, I think, annoying if you don't get it off the field really quickly. And Lopunny has got Fake Out, right? So it provides some support at the bottom end there. And yeah, Jolteon may be more useful than I think it is. It's fast, so it can actually, hit with Thunder Waves or, it gets Baby Doll Eyes. Yeah, it can. You can get quick screens to help your Pokemon live longer, and Palkia behind screens sounds pretty scary to me. I wouldn't want to deal with that. So there's some things going on there. I'm not sure what Leafeon is doing here. Maybe it could be useful if you want to try going with a Sun mode and setting up Sunny Day with Leafeon. So there's some nice tricks and combos that can be had there. But I don't know what Gardevoir really does on this team, and I don't know. Does Golurk get Wide Guard? Maybe that's some value for Golurk there.
I don't know if it does.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Okay.
I think Whimsicott gonna be key here, because you have a lot of middle tier ones with Palkia and Heatran and even Urshifu and Gardevoir. They hit so hard, and if they can hit first, they will do a lot of damage. So you need to watch out for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think
this draft will just depend a lot on the sheer versatility of Whimsicott and just the use ones. So
yeah, and I think Urshifu just at the end to clean up, hits through Protect, kind of broken. Wicked Blow is just a broken attack, and you get Sucker Punch. So there's some stuff here. I'm interested to see how he plays this team. But yeah, do you guys have any other comments you want to talk about with this team?
That's about it for me.
Yeah, same.
Cool. All right. Well, our last team, where do we want to put the Sao Paulo Toucannons?
For me, it would be C tier.
C
to be
tier.
honest.
What about you?
Oh. Yeah, I have it in C tier as well. I have it in middle of C tier.
Okay. Well, I'll put it here. Since City Salamences, I'll put it right behind. Okay. How does that look, guys?
That looks pretty good to me, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looks good to me too. This is also different from last time, so
Yeah.
but not very much. So anyways, everybody who's watching, so this is your preseason power rankings. Just FYI, I'm not going to do a write-up for preseason because you guys have already started your battles, and you guys are way too fast for me. But yeah, this is what we have, and anything else you guys want to talk about and say before we head out here?
Yeah, like and subscribe and comment, people. We're going to get the channel rolling.
Yeah. And then feel free to judge us on how we ranked you guys, and feel free to prove us wrong, because that definitely happened a lot last season. But think I didn't place anybody in the right location. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Checkers.
Well, this has been a good time, guys, and we'll see you later. Have a good one.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck.